It wasn't easy. The courage definitely wasn't easy. But I'm going to say for me, when it was finally like, well, I want to learn some more. I want to do. And so I went to a local, the Washington Baptist Theological Seminary, and I really just wanted to learn.
Right.
So I went and I learned, and I had professors there that went to Virginia Union. And they were like, you want to take it to a deeper level. Have you ever considered this? Wow. No, I'm not a preacher. So what am I going to, what am I going to
So you thought.
So, yeah. So I went to go visit.
Right.
And my dean at the time, Dean Kinney, John W. Kinney, he says, you have a work to do. Wow. And this, as we talk about trusting the process, you need to go through the process of preparing for the assignment, not just get out there and just say willy-nilly, I'm gonna go do this. No, if you're gonna become a doctor, you're gonna go to medical school. Right. Yes. So if you're gonna go into ministry, get trained.
This is our time.
And I have to say that it has been the most life-transforming opportunity, because there are so many people out there, including my home church pastor, who went to that same school, who have said, well, if you're willing to do it, I'm going to help walk you through this process. And in walking through the process, that's where I got the nerve to apply for that BTLI program and to end up with some of these relationships and to end up places like this at the Proctor Conference where we can now step out and do this. And now, as of today, to be a part of the Transform Network Speakers Bureau, where I'm able now to go out and minister and speak and facilitate for people that are affected by incarceration, affected by church hurt, we call sacred wounds, and those that have been affected by domestic violence, and those other things that we don't always want to talk about. Yes. But we need to talk about because they are affecting so many people that are sitting in the pews.
And for some reason, I think maybe women who are women as a group, as being underrepresented, maybe we are the most likely to bring voice to those areas that are less likely to be given voice. So we're partnering for some of the things that she's talking about with some of the Speakers Bureau. And then I'm also on the Speakers Bureau of Transform Network, and mine will be still in my intersections and work. But think about that there are orgs and there are people and there are places, and that is what it takes. It takes people intentionally putting backing and infrastructure behind women doing this work. So that's what happened. For me to go, I will say, mine was partly, I wasn't born and raised in church. Okay. So even coming to the Lord was very new. This is 2002. I want to be clear on how recent this was for me. That blows people's minds. Right. I was a Baha'i. I was in the Baha'i faith largely up until I was a teenager. Okay. And came out of college, a lot of things happened, and I was like, I want to go to church. Didn't understand where that was coming from. And joined and went some things from there. But seminary, my pull towards seminary really became because I honestly got sick and tired of male-dominated interpretation of text and scripture. So I'm really open to learning, to grow, and I want to know. I'm like Johnny Five, like input. And I kept getting these very patriarchal approaches to this information. And I was like, well, God made me. I'm made in the same image. That's what I was just told. I'm made in the same image. I want to go find out more.
Right.
So that's how I went to seminary. I was held in that space. It was very helpful.
Right. Wow. So
but it was hard. I wasn't really quickly, but it was also very sacrificial for me. I don't know the history of where your things fell in, but I was married at the time, but actually going through full into ministry on some level cost my marriage. A very loving marriage that I loved and appreciated in a way most people do not fully understand. But going to seminary on some level, that cost, because I was in a space that was hard for everybody for me to be in.
And I'm glad you gave us that moment of transparency, because with doing this ministry work, it's time consuming. It's several sacrifices, and if we're gonna truly honor and celebrate women, we got to tell the highs and the lows. And I think for some that might be the challenge. But
what I've learned is that once I was willing to make that commitment, because that's what God told me that's what I needed to do. But once I made that commitment, community comes around.
Listen,
and my youngest child is 16 years old. My oldest is 32, but my youngest is 16 years old. And that little girl has sat in more classes. She can tell you the exact position of when mama is in a paper, like, don't even ask me anything. Because right now, I need to do this. And she can see, she's used to at 3 o'clock in the morning, you get up and why is mom at the computer? Because now it's downloading. But also, that's translating to her, and we got to get this done, and we've got to do it. And speaking of, when we're talking about healing communities and dealing with those that have been incarcerated,
right?
You got to learn how to make that shift. And it's been going to school that helped me to understand how I can help those who have had other experiences, and they think differently. Their answers to certain questions are different than mine.
Right.
But now it's being able to sit and have that dialogue in school, because now I can say, okay, guess what, y'all? I read this, I heard this, or so-and-so said this. Let's talk through that so that we can then know how we can move forward in helping others, because now I get the school setting. I have my friends that I can bounce certain things off of.
Majorly.
Wow. Now, what, if any, opposition have you faced, with the church, with being women in ministry? And I will backtrack, because you and I, we had conversations, and you always put that piece in there about not being licensed or whatever. And I'm like, I preached for maybe 3-4 years without being licensed. But it's interesting how sometimes some of the language and traditions that come along with congregational ministry, you know what I mean? Like, because I know for years that, hindered me. I was like, oh man, I shouldn't really be preaching because I'm not licensed. But God was opening doors for opportunities. And people were like, no, we want you to come and give this word.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
I would say, I guess, because of all these intersections that are functioning, the biggest opposition that I've gotten, seriously, I know this sounds really, is I either get, we don't have money to put into social justice.
Oh boy.
So they will quickly pay a revivalist all kinds of money, and that's in the budget. But if you want to do any kind of social justice basis or activism or anything, or it's either a money issue or my people are not ready for that. But they're ready for a radical Jesus, a radical brown man who came and disrupted the religious folks of that day. They're ready for that, but they're not ready for what that looks like today. They don't recognize brown Jesus today. So I get some of that, and then I've also gotten a very interesting with mental health. I was going to do some contractual mental health and some different work at one place, and told I was too attractive. Listen now.
This is real on Can I Get Away with the podcast? We real today.
So was told I was too attractive to provide this service because men might be coming to me for the wrong reasons and not for pure counseling reasons. And so I looked at this man who y'all have no idea, I have a great respect for, and he's actually one of the most supportive folks consistently that I've had, and we've had this discussion, so this is not new to him. But I looked at him, who is an attractive brother, a Kappa, by the way. And he's a pastor. He's moved, I think he's in South Carolina, pastoring now. But he said, I looked at him and was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then you got to come out of the pulpit because you're too attractive to be up there preaching. These women might be coming into the church for the wrong reason. I was like, this is what you sound like saying this to me. And he was like, oh dang. So, but he's open enough to have those dialogues. But I get that a lot. I went to meet with a pastor one time about some social justice stuff. Brought his wife with him unannounced. And I was just like, so it's rough. And then I get for some reason I seem to get really great responses from white churches in terms of the money that they're willing to put in, as well as less care about whether I'm licensed or not.
Right.
But unless I have a male figure to co-sign on what I'm doing, then I don't get the same response from black church. And
I'm going to be honest with you, like all those opportunities I talked about, that was white churches that opened them doors. I mean, I'm going to just keep it real. West End Baptist Church in Petersburg, Virginia. I love y'all because after my first year of seminary, they gave me a summer youth minister position and cut me a check for $3,000 that I told them put it towards my tuition, write it out for the school, but hello.
Right. See, with me, mine was there because being raised in a church that initially did not recognize did not recognize women in ministry.
Right.
And then even when I left to grow and grew up, grew up and moved on, I ended up in a church that they did not recognize women in ministry to license them. Women in ministry were only licensed as evangelists. They were not licensed as ministers. And it was that church that I had left when after I started the beginning of seminary. So I still am in an environment in the Washington, D.C. area. This is no secret. I'm in an area where there are ministers' conferences that still do not welcome women. So I still see it, still experience it. know that we can't vote, we can't be a part of it.
Ooh, hashtag parachurch.
And so therefore, but now I know that sometimes my presence still has to be in these spaces.
Right.
Because those myths, those things that you're saying about women in ministry, I have to make sure that I'm not perpetrating it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I see part of my roles.
Wow.
It's a breaking down of barriers all the time. And so part of my reason you were like, well, I'm not a preacher. My thing was, I can honestly sit here and admit in this space, I've probably known that I was supposed to preach for a very long time. However, I went to the Lord and was like, listen, I felt like Color Purple. I had to fight my mama. I had to fight my daddy. I'm like, I fight in activism spaces where I'm constantly fighting structural oppression, right? And I am in other spaces where I'm constantly fighting what wellness and healing can look like, and I'm always fighting, and I'm fighting, and I'm fighting, and I'm fighting, and I'm fighting. I was like, I don't want to fight in the pulpit. I do not want to fight in a preaching ministry. That would just be, I know who I am. I'm very aware how God made me. I was like, that I would just make another fight. This would be another battleground. And so in my running, I think it's been really running from the battleground of one more place to fight. Like, how many fronts can you fight a war on? I'm one person.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I would love to preach. I just don't want to fight.
You're preaching right now.
I just don't want to fight with you.
I'm sorry. And your text today was?
Hey,
you're preaching right now, and a word of encouragement, if I could give you one, is like, that's the whole thing. Like, that's why I work with this whole preacher thing, because it's like not that you ladies are, but some people think that they're not preachers. They think that, you're preaching in so many. You don't have to stand behind the pulpit.
Most, I know, especially for me growing up in church, even if I was running around the church on Sundays, which I did because I grew up in a church where I was there all day, every day, they never said that little girl's getting ready to be a preacher. The little boy was going to be a preacher.
The little boy
was nobody never told y'all my
no little girl wasn't going to be no preacher.
I've been getting that since I was a little boy.
But see, that's right.
So women don't get that.
No.
You don't get that. That young girl don't grow up and be a preacher. They don't say that to women.
And when I first came into a church, at the time, again, was married. First came into the church, we joined another church together as a married couple, and they were so excited, and they were like, oh, we got a deaconess, and I was looking at them like,
oh, they told you what you gonna do.
They told me that I was going to be a deaconess, and I was like, well, I'm married, I'm confused, I'm new to church, but your language, I'm married to a minister.
Foolish.
I'm not married to a deacon. Isn't that the context for a deaconess as you understand it? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, unless there's a ministeress ministry, and I said this out loud.
Right.
Unless there's a ministeress ministry, I don't have a place in that. I was like, I feel like I'm gonna let God lead me to where I need to be, and they were like really affronted. And then I asked, I was like, well, I drove in the parking lot, and I saw this parking space for the pastor, and I saw a parking space for the head trustee, and I saw a parking space for the head deacon. I was like, and I'm looking at the head of the deaconess board. I was like, so where's your parking space?
Right.
And she was like, dumbstruck, found it. I was like, when you get a parking space, I'll come consider being a deaconess.
And see, I like to always make sure I put out the good news. I'm glad to know there are churches that I've been working with that recognize and welcome and embrace women in ministry.
Right.
For me right now, I believe that sometimes we playing catch up because we haven't had, as we talked about the spiritual mentors and having a spiritual father, they've had that for years. But the mother of the church has not been the person who has developed you spiritually. The mother of the church was the person that kept you in line and made sure, baby, that you did what you're supposed to do, and that y'all not running around. Your spiritual father was the one that helped you learn about your spirituality and grow forward. We've got to change that. I need to be able to have a spiritual mother who grooms me. I was blessed to have a mother who made sure I learned the word for myself.
Right.
But having those mentors are what we're looking, what we need. And that's, again, we look forward to having the RISE program. And I'm thankful for the pastors, male, who recognize the importance of this and are now putting things in place so that we can go through the steps to be who God has called us to be.
Yeah, I'm grateful for those. I do have horror stories. I know I have shared some of those. But I have absolutely had both both male support, strong male support, as well as strong female support. But again, Princeton, until Reverend Michelle Guidry.
What?
Come on now. Don't forget Dr. Renita and Dr. Renita Weeds.
Until I met these two, seriously, until I met these two, and they were so intentional and loving.